right, what's up, you guys? So this is episode 2, Coach Jake. Just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time out to watch my video. And today I'm just going to get into some of the things that have helped shape my views and insights on health and why I really feel like these concepts I'm going to be working on with you today actually make a big difference in our lives. Okay. So the first one is, what is self-transformation and why is it so important for us to try to better our lives and transform our lives away from this suffering and pain that we find ourselves in and find actually better ways of living, healthier ways of living. So let's define self-transformation. Self-transformation is basically the process of engaging in your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors by being radically honest with yourself in ways that help you identify those things that you may be deficient in and actually letting go of some of those things that you may be suffering from or things that you may be doing that are abusive to yourself and maybe to others, dysfunctional behaviors, right? So really that's what self-transformation I think really is. It's about being radically honest with yourself and going through the work necessary for you to come out of that a different person, a completely different person, one where you can't even recognize the person you were before. One of the things I found very intriguing was listening to Caroline Myss talk about lying and what lying does to us. And I think that's one of the things I feel is really standing in our way from healing and getting really healthy. Before I get into it deeply, I just want to kind of share with you a clip. It's from 2017-ish, I believe. It's a TED Talk that she gave, and I just kind of want to cut out a little clip of that and share with you what she's talking about here when it comes to your own personal integrity. So anyway, let me share it with you and then I'll get back, okay? Here we go.
We are born knowing certain things. We're wired for it. It's in our instinct. It's in our spiritual instincts. It's in our DNA. It's in our soul DNA. We are born knowing that choice is powerful. Choice is the most powerful thing we got going for us, and we know it. And that's the reason why we're terrified to make a choice. I'll ask somebody, where do you want to go for dinner? I don't know. Pick a restaurant. No, can't even pick a restaurant. People are terrified of making choices. Terrified of the consequence you choose. Terrified of being held accountable for a consequence. Well, I don't know what I want to do. I'll think about it. The morning, the day, your mind gets the day shift, your heart gets the night shift. Your mind says, well, I think, your heart says, I feel. And you don't let the two of them talk to each other. Because if they do, then you actually have to do something. Choice terrifies people. So most people will do anything to postpone making choices. So I'm going to help you out. And we're going to go through a list of choices that matter, that make a difference. The first choice is the decision to actually live an integrous life. And when I say make a choice to do that, it's the kind of thing I mean. I don't mean, well, I live a good life. No. I'm talking full scale. I'm going to walk the way I talk. I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to live a life of integrity. I'm going to, never mind this speak my truth, I'm actually going to tell the truth. I'm going to live with integrity. I'm going to make my choices according to what I say I believe I'm going to live. I will not, and what this means is that I'm not going to betray myself. I'm not going to compromise myself. I'm not going to put myself in a position or put myself in any circumstance, or if I'm in a circumstance, I'm getting out. Or I won't force another person. I won't force another person to be in a circumstance in which I know they're uncomfortable in order to please me. I won't hold another person captive because that has no integrity. I will not do that. Now, let me tell you something. Liars don't heal. Liars don't heal. So you can eat all the wheatgrass you want, and you could do all this stuff with seeds and vegetables. But an honest person who eats cat food will go further than you. Dishonest people, people who lie, people who have moral crises and do not get it, people who blame others for things that they do and they know it, people who make choices and they know another person's going to pay for the consequence of that choice and they are conscious of it. They know for a fact that they're saying something that is not true. And they know another person's going to be hurt by that. People who deliberately say things to hurt somebody. Believe you me, your body knows you did that. Your mind knows you did that. Your heart and soul knows you did that. So don't tell yourself, under any circumstances, that the problem with your depression comes from your childhood. Don't go there, knock it off, and make the decision to live an integrous life.
All right, guys, so welcome back. And I just wanted to say, I really found Caroline Myss, her TED Talk. If you could ever watch the whole thing, I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to it inside the description below. But it really kind of encapsulates, I believe, what's going on with a lot of people. It's like the human condition, right? We're trapped in this state where we are, we've got so much going on inside our brains, almost to a point where our external life, the exterior part of our life, our environment, almost becomes somewhat meaningless or not nearly as profound. So we just get caught up inside of our minds, and our minds can just become these mazes, and it's hard for us to get ourselves out and get into our more natural nature, our humanity. And I think that that's really what a lot of people are suffering from. And one of the things I believe is apparent is that we are not being honest with ourselves. We're not taking the time and energy out to actually really understand who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, where we came from, what the whole purpose is behind being alive. And instead, we just become victims to our own circumstance. We lie to ourselves. We become hypercritical, very judgmental. We look at shortcuts in our thinking. So we have these cognitive biases that create these logical fallacies, that create these limited belief systems. And we have a tendency to just run away with that instead of taking time out of our day to actually really ponder our thoughts deeply and think about our behaviors and the way that we feel. We just have a tendency to be so distracted. Everything's a Cliff Note version of what it once was. and a lot of things just become meaningless. And we have this fear, we have this inherent fear to make changes in our life because we're afraid of what the consequences of them may be, and so we're afraid of making choices. We're terrified to make choices in our lives. And that's a problem, especially for people who are finding themselves being unhealthy. They are kind of caught up in a catch-22 where, it's, they're not feeling too good. They don't have really the energy in order for them to pull themselves out of the wreckage they're in and move themselves into a new direction. But I really do believe that the very, very first step in changing your life has to come from being honest with yourself, radically honest with yourself. And that was one of the things that really hit me really hard, just because I can remember back in 2000 and say 15, 16, when I was going through a divorce and I was going through some upheaval in my life. I had hurt my lower back. I had gotten on painkillers, and I had just, my whole life had just gotten into this real fog. It was like the fog of war. And I kept convincing myself that I was okay. I was going to be fine. Everything was going to work itself out. And really what that was it was just an optimism bias that had just sort of engulfed me. And I was lying to myself. I was actually in a lot of pain. I was in a lot of suffering, and I wasn't allowing myself to be in that pain and that suffering. And so I kept looking for ways to numb the pain, distract myself from it, and take vacations, mental vacations, and rather than finding solutions to the problems I was in. And I feel like that's a lot of times what I feel other people are going through as well. If we've been lying to ourselves for a long time, we've built up so many blind spots. And I think that's where working on your shadow is important, working on your perspective on things and building, I would say, some resilience in your life where you can start to really manifest a better version of yourself, so that you can start to move into that 2.0 version of yourself versus that 1.0 version of yourself. Please subscribe to my channel, leave any comments, reach out if you need any coaching, and I would love to hear what you have to say. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on, and please share this video with anyone you think that might benefit from it. Okay, thanks. Bye.